Welcome to the video. This one's actually a playlist of all my supplement related videos. You can go ahead and check the timestamps both on the screen and down in the description below if you'd like to skip forward to any particular topics. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients resolve bloating, gas, and other digestive issues so they can look and feel their best. In this week's video, we're going to talk about L-glutamine, what it is, why it's helpful for gut health, what dosage forms it comes in, when to take it in relation to food, what dose to use for gut health, who should be cautious in using it, and then how long to take it for. L-glutamine is an amino acid that is found naturally in our body, and we can also get it through our diet. Besides gut health, it does have a lot of additional benefits, but for the purpose of this specific video, I'm only going to talk about it in context to gut health. The main way that L-glutamine helps with gut health is by helping to correct what is known as increased intestinal permeability. It can also be called intestinal hyperpermeability or even leaky gut, which is the most common simple name. Leaky gut is a condition where the lining of the small intestine becomes more porous than it should be. Normally, your intestinal lining acts as a barrier to keep harmful substances from passing through and into your bloodstream. However, when this lining becomes more permeable, it allows larger particles such as undigested foods and toxins to actually leak into your bloodstream. When this happens, it can cause a chain reaction of health problems because your immune system is going to respond to these foreign substances by attacking them, and this essentially is a chronic immune response which is now happening. This causes inflammation in the body, which can lead to a variety of problems such as digestive issues, skin problems, and even autoimmune disorders. There are a lot of factors that can contribute to this increased intestinal permeability, such as poor diet, stress, certain medications, and even infections that last for a long time because they're not properly treated. The way that L-glutamine actually helps the intestine is by supporting that layer of cells that form the gut lining or the epithelial lining in the small intestine. L-glutamine helps the cells in this lining grow and repair themselves more quickly, and this can help prevent and even reverse some of the damage that's already there. As a result of the cells in the intestinal lining being healed, it can also help reduce the amount of inflammation which is there, which can lower symptoms. These symptoms can include ones that are both in the digestive tract, such as abdominal discomfort and loose stools, and even ones that are outside the digestive tract, such as brain fog and skin issues. Okay, now let's dive into the details of how to actually take L-glutamine for gut health. First, what dosage forms is it available in? L-glutamine is available most commonly in a powdered form, but it is also available in both capsule and tablet form. As I mentioned, the powder form is the most common one, and it is very easy to mix and drink with water. It even has a decent taste, a little bit of a sweetness to it. The capsules or tablet route sometimes isn't as good of an idea because compared to a lot of other supplements, the dose that you're actually taking of L-glutamine is much higher than other supplements. We'll get to the doses in a little bit, but if you were to get a normal dose of L-glutamine via capsules, you may have to be taking at least several capsules per dose. And for a lot of people, this is just not going to be something that you're willing to do or something enjoyable to do. Next, should you take L-glutamine with food or on an empty stomach? Per most research and experts, taking L-glutamine on an empty stomach seems to be the best way to go. The reason is if you take the L-glutamine with food, it is going to be competing with the other food and amino acids from proteins that you're eating for absorption. Therefore, it's likely that if you did this, you would not get the maximum benefit from this supplement. Therefore, empty stomach seems to be the best way to go. I would recommend taking it at least 30 minutes before a meal. What dose should you use of L-glutamine for gut health? There's actually a lot of debate on the preferred dose of L-glutamine. One use that's very common is as a workout supplement to help for muscle growth and regeneration. There is some debate on the optimum dose of L-glutamine. After all, it is used for different purposes. Some research has actually showed that doses up to even 40 grams a day of L-glutamine is actually safe to use. Normally with the higher doses, they're typically reserved for people that are using them for workout purposes or serious athletes. But for the purpose of gut healing, it's probably best if you do 2.5 to 5 grams of L-glutamine twice daily on an empty stomach. One way to do this would be to take 2.5 to 5 grams 30 minutes before your first meal of the day, and then take the same dose, 2.5 to 5 grams, 30 minutes before your last meal of the day on an empty stomach. Like any other supplement, you definitely want to start low and slow and slowly increase as tolerated. For people that have a more severe gut issue, it is possible that higher doses of L-glutamine for gut healing may be necessary. Who should be cautious with taking L-glutamine? L-glutamine typically is pretty well tolerated in the body. However, keep in mind it does get converted to glutamate, which is a very important neurotransmitter involved with signaling and messaging in the body. This glutamate, though, does have a stimulatory effect. Therefore, if you do have a difficult time with anxiety, or you do have a difficult time with sleeping or falling asleep, it may be a good idea to use this product cautiously because it can potentially make these worse. As I mentioned before, always start with a very low dose and then increase slowly. It's not a bad thing to start with 1 gram of L-glutamine twice a day to get a sense for how it affects you. The liver and kidney are also involved with the metabolism, breakdown, and excretion of L-glutamine. Therefore, if you have a known liver or kidney disease, definitely exercise caution if you're considering using this product. There have even been cases of healthy people that have developed liver toxicity from using L-glutamine, and this typically would happen if you're using a very, very high dose. The moral of the story is if some is good, more is not always better. And if you're going to use this supplement, have a specific reason in mind of what you're hoping to have it help with. And lastly, how long should you take L-glutamine for? It really depends on the condition you're using it for. If you're trying to use it just for leaky gut associated with a case of maybe SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, taking it for 1 to 2 months may be sufficient. If you're using it for something way more serious and significant, maybe like celiac disease, you may need to take this supplement for over a year. So overall, L-glutamine is a natural substance that can have great benefits for gut health, especially for people that are experiencing leaky gut. That is all for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I post new full-length videos every Monday evening and YouTube shorts throughout the week. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. What's up, everyone? My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients with bloating, gas, and other digestive issues so they can look and feel their best. Last week, I made a video called Can You Become Dependent on Betaine HCl? If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. Toward the end of that video, I made a comment that you should start with only 1 capsule of betaine HCl with pepsin, and from there you can increase it, but do it in a certain particular manner. This video is actually going to discuss the best way to take betaine HCl with pepsin, how to increase and decrease the dose, and some other important considerations as well. Betaine HCl with pepsin, which is probably the way it's more commonly found, it usually comes in a capsule form, and it's meant to just increase the amount of acidity here in the stomach. And by doing that, a lot of the times it can help with symptoms such as bloating, belching, indigestion, and even heartburn. If you're wondering if maybe you do have low stomach acid, a quick way to get a decent estimate if that's true is you take a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and mix it in with 4 ounces, which is about 120 milliliters. Mix it in with that amount of cold water first thing in the morning when you wake up and drink that. If it takes you more than 3 minutes to start burping after drinking this liquid, it's possible that you may have too low or an insufficient amount of stomach acid. If it takes less than the 3 minutes, then it's more likely that you do have a sufficient amount of stomach acid. Again, there's some gray area, but this is just a rough tool estimate to get a sense of where you stand. For betaine HCl with pepsin, it is always a good idea to do it under the supervision of an expert that knows what they're doing with it. But if you want to give this a try on your own, I'd recommend doing it in the following manner. All right, first thing, start with only 1 capsule, always. Guys, please be patient with this. Even if it seems like you have to take the maximum dose of every single pill you take, still start with 1 on this one and be patient, ease your way into it. Take this capsule in the middle of each meal, which is also very important. And to help you understand why, we'll look at why it's bad to take at the end of a meal and also not good to take in the beginning of a meal either. To answer first why taking it at the end of a meal can be bad. So taking it at the end of a meal, if you try to rinse it down with a little bit of water, it's possible that this pill, this small pill that contains basically powdered stomach acid, can get stuck and not make it all the way down your esophagus. If this pill opens up, which The capsule of the pill is designed to hold it for a little bit, but not that long. If it opens up in your esophagus, it's going to be incredibly painful. You're going to get a burning sensation like acid reflux. To avoid this, if you take it in the middle of the meal, the bites of food that you have after you take the pill are going to be able to push that capsule down all the way through the esophagus into the stomach, and you should not have this happen. Next, for explaining why taking it before the meal can be bad as well. We have to understand that our body uses what are known as negative feedback loops. This means that the body is always trying to rebalance and recalibrate itself depending on what happens to it. Therefore, if you take this betaine HCl capsule or capsules too early and they reach the stomach may sense it and say, nope, we're actually good on stomach acid now. We're not going to send out any of our own that we produce right here. By taking betaine HCl in the middle of the meal, you get the bonus of having both getting what your body can normally produce in terms of stomach acid and getting the stomach acid from the supplement. Another factor to keep into consideration is to only take this betaine HCl supplement with meals that contain a decent supply of protein in them. And when I say decent, I'd probably say roughly 20 to 25 grams. This product is specifically designed to assist with digesting protein. Therefore, if you're having just a small snack, maybe something like a bowl of fruit, something along those lines, I would not suggest taking this supplement for that meal or snack. Okay, now that you know how to take it and with which type of meals to take it with, let's look at how to taper up and increase the dosage. So we know we're starting with one capsule in the middle of the meal containing a decent amount of protein. After you take the capsule, between maybe 5 minutes to an hour after you take it, if you notice a warming, burning sensation around the sternum, if you've had heartburn before, you definitely know what I'm talking about. If you have that happen, I would discontinue the betaine HCl for the rest of the day. And if that happened on the first capsule, there's a decent chance that you probably don't need it at all. If you do not have any discomfort after taking that one capsule in the middle of a protein-containing meal, you can keep doing that same one capsule per dose per meal for the next 2 days. If no discomfort is felt in the sternum, around the chest area over here for any of those doses, after 2 days, you can increase the dose to 2 capsules per dose in the middle of the meal. Continue this progression by adding 1 capsule per meal every 2 days, as long as no chest or heartburn, burnings type sensation here is being felt. And you can go up to a maximum of actually 8 capsules per day. This is a very upper limit, so if you get here and you still don't feel anything, definitely do not continue going higher. If a heartburn sensation is noticed while you're taking a dose between 2 capsules and 8 capsules per day, discontinue taking the betaine HCl for the rest of that particular day and the next day. And then the following day, you can resume, but do it at 1 capsule fewer than the dose that caused you the symptoms. This is probably super confusing, so I'm gonna give you an example right here to look at, and hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. All right, this is you right here. Maybe struggling with some belching and you're looking to take something to boost stomach acid. Day 1, you're over here, you take 1 capsule per meal and you have no heartburn that day or the next day. So on day 3, you increase it to 2 capsules per dose per meal. And again, you have no heartburn. You do that for 2 more days. You go on to day 5 now, and still you have no heartburn after taking 3 capsules per meal. But then on day 7, you increase to 4 capsules per meal. And you notice while you're eating kind of toward the end of the meal, you do have that burning sensation around your stomach, and it happens during breakfast. So for this, you take no more betaine HCl for the rest of that day 7. And you also are going to avoid it completely. You're going to rest on day 8 as well. And then finally on day 9, we are going to reduce to taking 3 capsules per meal. This is our maximum tolerable dose because when we tried doing 4, we had symptoms. We're going to stay at this dosage until the root cause of our digestive issues is resolved. And then tapering downwise, all right, let's say you fixed the issue that was causing you problems in the first place, and now we wanted to see if we can discontinue off of this betaine HCl. So after that digestive issue is resolved, we can try reducing a similar way than the way we tapered up. So we're going to reduce by 1 capsule per dose per meal. We're only going to do this a little bit slower than we did tapering up. We're going to reduce by 1 capsule every week instead of every 2 days. This just gives us a better way to kind of gauge how our digestion is responding due to each dose change. Important, your body will not become dependent on betaine HCl with pepsin. I discussed this in my video last week. And tapering off will not cause any withdrawal symptoms. If you're considering a trial with betaine HCl with pepsin, if you are struggling with digestive issues, hopefully this video was helpful and answered a few questions on what you should do. If you're new to my channel, I post a full-length video every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thank you very much for watching and have a great week. What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients relieve bloating, gas, and other digestive issues so they can look and feel their best. I previously made videos titled How to Take Betaine HCl with Pepsin and How to Take Digestive Bitters. If you haven't watched them already, you can click right here to see them. The video for today, though, is going to be about how to take digestive enzymes and then all the key things you need to know about them. In this video, I will discuss the following: what digestive enzymes are, how they work, how you should take them, who may benefit from them, and then finally, who should avoid them. First section is what are digestive enzymes? They are substances that are produced in the body that are specifically responsible for breaking food down into the smallest possible components so they can be absorbed into our body. You can think of them kind of like tiny little pairs of scissors. Although there are many specific digestive enzymes and a long list of them, the three main types of digestive enzymes are amylase, which is specific for digesting carbohydrates, protease, which helps with digesting protein. The third is lipase, which helps digest fats, and this is done with the help of bile. And although it's possible you may be able to find digestive enzymes in different forms, pretty much every single one that I've personally found has come in a pill form, whether it be a capsule or a tablet. Okay, now for how digestive enzymes actually work. As I mentioned before, they do function just like tiny little pairs of scissors. Let me give you this one example to show what digestive enzymes actually do. Let's say you ate a baked potato during dinner this evening. In order for your body to actually gain the energy from the baked potato, it has to convert that potato from a starch, which is a very long chain of sugar molecules all strung together, and it has to digest it all the way down into a single sugar molecule or molecule of glucose. This takes a lot of effort for the body to actually do, which seems like it would be a bad thing, but for a lot of reasons I won't go into in this video, mostly involving blood sugar, it can actually be a really good thing. Having your body need to do all this work just to digest a food to get energy from it, on the surface it seems like it would be a really bad thing, but in actuality it's actually a good thing most of the time, mostly due to blood sugar type reasons. For the purpose and scope of this video, I won't get any more into the explanation of that. The process of breaking down this starch into a sugar starts in the mouth with proper chewing and saliva. Saliva actually contains amylase, and this would be the first portion where a little bit of digestion of the potato would actually happen. Next, the potato, which hopefully is in a bit more of a mashed consistency since you chewed it well, enters the stomach, where stomach acid continues to digest the potato and break down that long chain of starch even further to get it closer to that single molecule of sugar that we need for energy. After this, the potato, which is decently digested by now, makes its way into the small intestine. And this is where the majority of the digestive enzymes and the function of the digestive enzymes takes place. Any remaining links that are holding these single molecules of sugar or glucose together are hopefully here cut by these digestive enzymes, and the body is able to absorb this sugar or glucose and use it for energy. Next up is how you should be taking digestive enzymes. Depending on where you look or who you talk to, there's a few different ways that people say you should be taking them. I've seen some data that says take them 15 to 20 minutes before meals. Some say take with the first bite of food. And some just say you can take in the middle of the meal or take with a meal. There's not a general correct answer of when to take it. If you did any of these three that I aforementioned, you probably would get the proper benefit from taking the digestive enzyme. The key thing would be to definitely take it around mealtime though. If you took them hours before or after a meal, you're really not going to be gaining the benefit of the digestive enzymes. I typically take mine in the middle of the meal because I take my other supplements in the middle of the meal as well, and taking them only one time around mealtime in general just helps me to take the dose and not forget to do so. The one other consideration to take into account is if your digestive enzyme is mixed with a betaine HCl with pepsin. This is pretty common with digestive supplements that they'll lump the betaine HCl with a digestive enzyme. And if this is the case for you, definitely make sure to take this digestive enzyme product with the betaine in the middle of the meal. In the previous video, I talked about how to take betaine. That one you definitely need to take right in the middle of the meal to prevent a potential heartburn symptom. I'd recommend just doing what the bottle says for the specific product. A lot of these digestive enzyme products just say to take with a meal or take with food. In this case, if you don't have any other factors to consider, I would just take it with the first bite of your meal. Some people who could benefit from taking digestive enzymes, if you have lower abdominal bloating, which is kind of at the belly button or even a little bit below. This is because if you have low digestive enzymes and food builds up in the intestines, this is the exact area where gas would build up and cause that bloating. If you have diabetes mellitus type 2 or even prediabetes, something that often happens in these circumstances is you actually have fatty liver and fatty pancreas. A large portion of the digestive enzymes are actually created in the pancreas, so therefore if you have fatty pancreas, the pancreas is not going to be able to do its job as well and produce these digestive enzymes. Celiac disease is another condition where digestive enzymes are definitely going to be helpful. In addition to the pancreas producing digestive enzymes that I mentioned before, the small intestines is also responsible for producing a good portion of your digestive enzymes. There's a lot of damage that's done to the intestinal lining when you have celiacs, therefore supplementing with digestive enzymes can be a great benefit for you. And you know I always love to talk about SIBO. With SIBO, there's not the same amount of damage to the lining of the small intestines that celiac has, but just having that overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestines can cause damage to the lining of the small intestines, and therefore the amount of digestive enzymes that you're producing in the small intestines can be lower. Digestive enzymes can move food quicker through the intestines with some people. Therefore, if you're somebody that is struggling with diarrhea or loose stools, it may be a good idea to avoid taking these. Or if you are taking them and have diarrhea and loose stools, you may want to do a trial to see if you stop the digestive enzyme, if this symptom goes away. Cramping is also a possibility, and this is more likely if you take high doses of digestive enzymes. In conclusion, digestive enzymes can be a helpful solution if you have a digestive issue that you're currently working through, although I'm not aware of any negative effects of taking digestive enzymes long term. Once your digestive problems have resolved, you're feeling better and you've addressed the root cause, it only makes sense to try to taper off them. If a supplement's no longer needed and things are optimized without it, might as well try to discontinue it and not take so many pills each day. That is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I post a new full-length video every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time, and I post YouTube shorts most days of the week now as well. If you have any comments or questions for me, please drop them below in the comment section, and I'll see you next week. What's up everyone, my name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients with bloating, gas, and other digestive issues so they can look and feel their best. If you're having trouble with digestive issues and are looking for natural things that can help with a lot of symptoms, you may have come across a product or just a type of products known as digestive bitters, or maybe more commonly known just as bitters. This video is going to discuss what they are, how they work, and then how you should be taking them. Bitters are a type of herbal supplement that are designed to help with the digestion of food and also to help get rid of digestive issues such as bloating, gas, and indigestion. Digestive bitters are a mixture of a variety of different plant materials. And what makes the digestive bitters actually what they are is that they're soaked in either a strong alcohol or a vinegar-based solution. And by doing this, this really helps extract the bitterness in the herbs and plant materials. Bitters work by stimulating the digestive system, and this includes increasing the amount of digestive enzymes, bile, and stomach acid that are produced right before you eat. Some common digestive bitters that you may find on the market include angelica root, artichoke leaf, black walnut, cardamom, dandelion root, fennel seed, gentian root, and caraway seed. There's definitely other ones. These are just some common ones that you'll see. The specific ingredients can vary from product to product. Some products that you'll find contain only a single type of digestive bitters, while others have a variety of different herbs and plant ingredients in each product. In terms of types of digestive bitters, the most common type is what's known as a liquid tincture, which is a liquid glass bottle most likely, and you draw up a little bit with a little dropperette, pipette thing, whatever they're called, and that would be how you take the dose. There's also capsules that have the herbs in them. They don't really typically work the same way as a true digestive bitter because it's not going to be used in the same manner. I'll talk a little bit more about this later. But to take digestive bitters in that little liquid tincture form, you're going to put a small amount and drop it onto your tongue. The dose can vary from product to product, but typically it's between 1 milliliter to 5 milliliters. And just to give a comparison, if you're not familiar, it's about a quarter teaspoon to 1 whole teaspoon is a typical dose for these. You'll drop this amount onto your tongue about 10 to 30 minutes before you eat and kind of swish it around your tongue so you coat the whole thing. Hold these bitters on your tongue for about 10 to 15 seconds. And after that, they're perfectly safe to swallow as well. What this does is by holding those bitters on your tongue and coating the whole thing, it activates all the bitter taste buds on your tongue. This signal reaches the brain and it tells the body, specifically the areas involved with digestion, such as the mouth, such as the stomach, such as the pancreas, such as the gallbladder, that it should be releasing more digestive juices to prepare for the meal that's about to be eaten. And this includes in the mouth, it's saliva, stomach, it's stomach acid, pancreas, it's digestive enzymes. Note, some digestive enzymes are also produced in the small intestines. Kind of both organs are responsible for that. And then the gallbladder is releasing bile. Like I said, this is done a little bit before you eat, typically about 10 to 30 minutes before your meal. If you do want to take them after the meal because you notice that most of the symptoms are after the meal, or it's just something you want to try, they are safe to be taken after the meal as well. In this case, you would take them in the same exact manner after you eat. And I mentioned capsules briefly before. This would be the time, if you did have the capsules that you wanted to take, this is the time that they would probably be more helpful to take because they're not a true bitter. They don't have the actual apple cider vinegar or the alcohol, so they're not going to be stimulating those digestive secretions before the meal. So if you have a capsule and you want to try them, after the meal is probably when they're going to be the most helpful for reducing gas and digestive issues. A couple additional benefits of digestive bitters include supporting the liver and increasing detoxification in the body. And the other one includes reducing sugar cravings, which is pretty interesting. When your body feels that bitter taste on the tongue, it actually blocks out the receptors in the brain that crave sugar, and this just makes sugary foods less desirable and reduces the kind of urge to eat them. Who should be careful when taking digestive bitters? I would say anybody that is experiencing active stomach ulcers or gastritis, which is just an inflammation of the lining of the stomach. Could be from a variety of reasons, but if you feel significant sharp pain when you're eating food, this may indicate that. So always be very cautious if these things are the case. If you do choose to try digestive bitters, always start with the lowest dose anyway. For most products, it will be around 1 milliliter and maybe less depending on the one that you choose, but always start slow and taper up and not exceed the maximum dose that's listed on the bottle or each product. Some potential products of digestive bitters can include a dry or just numb feeling mouth. They can have a little bit of like an icy hot menthol type sensation. This could include like a chilly sensation, feeling cool sensation in the throat. And although they're meant to help with all sorts of digestive issues, for some people, they actually do make the digestive symptoms worse. This can include nausea, heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, and a variety of others. Digestive bitters can interact with some medications, such as thyroid medications. They're known to actually lower the level of the thyroid hormone. So because of this, it's definitely recommended to space out when you take bitters from when you take the thyroid medication by at least an hour or so. If you're familiar or have taken medications, specifically thyroid medications, you do know that many medications interact with thyroid, so this isn't something that's going to be incredibly surprising. And if you do choose to take them together, even on the same day, I'd probably just recommend checking your thyroid labs at least every 3 to 6 months if you're not doing so already. Final note, I wanted to talk about how long you should be taking digestive bitters for, or can you get addicted to them? There's not really a definitive answer on this. I would say for any digestive supplement such as this, something that's not really going to be working to resolve the root cause of why you have the issue, I would maybe try taking it for a few months, say 3 to 6 months, and then after this period of time, if it has been helping, see if you can start tapering off and maybe those problems that you experienced before are no longer there. Because when taking supplements, we want to take them realistically for a short period of time. Then as we resolve the root cause, we'd hope to be able to wean off these other supplements, because nobody wants to be taking something for their entire life, especially if they don't have to. That is everything I have for you today on digestive bitters, what they are, how they work, and how to take them. Let me know if you have any questions on them below here in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I post a new full-length video every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great week.
What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients with bloating, gas, and other digestive issues that result from SIBO and other gut-related conditions so they can feel and look their best. This video is a follow-up to the one I did last week called Bile Basics. In that video last week, I discussed what bile is, where it's produced and stored, and then some of its main functions, such as helping digesting fats, acting as an antimicrobial, helping rid the body of toxins, and helping reduce oxalate levels. This week, I'll be talking specifically about the supplements for bile production and flow, and then also some considerations if you've had your gallbladder removed. Okay, so first section is about having sufficient bile quantity. One quick way to tell if you have insufficient bile quantity is if you have kind of floating or greasy stools, or if you feel like fatty foods just kind of never really agree with you. And this brings us to the first topics, or first supplements rather, which are bile acids and bile salts. Both bile acids and bile salts can be purchased in the store as supplements, but they're also produced naturally in the body. I'll explain the difference between bile acids and bile salts now, and then you'll be able to see why going with the bile salts as a supplement option may be a better idea for you. Bile acids are molecules that are naturally produced in the liver from cholesterol. Through a series of chemical reactions, this cholesterol is transformed into bile acids. And before I continue, let me explain how and why bile is actually effective. Bile is considered a surfactant molecule for digesting and absorbing fats. You may have heard the term surfactant before, actually, when talking about soap. Although this isn't really the literal translation for it, you can kind of think of a surfactant as having two sides. One is a water-loving, fat-hating side, and the other one is a water-hating, fat-loving side. Having both of these sides of the molecule is incredibly helpful for what it does. To give a real life example, consider you have greasy hands from either baking cookies, handling salmon with olive oil, etc. If you needed to rinse this off, if you just ran it under water and scrubbed for a long time, eventually it would probably get the job done, but it would take a long time. But if you reach for the soap sitting above your sink and use that instead, it definitely would remove the grease from your hands a lot quicker. Bile works by using the same exact chemistry on digesting and absorbing fats from our diet. Okay, circling back. So those bile acids that were formed in the liver, they act as a mild surfactant. So they have some activity, but they're not great by any means. However, a slight alteration to them can make them way more potent. I'm talking about the addition of either a taurine molecule or a glycine molecule. These are both amino acids. This alteration happens in the liver after the bile acids are produced, but before they're sent to the gallbladder. After a taurine or glycine molecule is added to the bile acid, it becomes a bile salt. And to repeat myself again, these bile salts are more effective surfactants than bile acids. Although these bile acid supplements are available, going with a bile salt often is a much better option. Who may benefit from taking bile salts? As I just mentioned previously, somebody that has poor digestion and absorption of fats can really benefit from having these. Somebody that's missing their gallbladder, this is an incredibly important one. Triple star this one. The purpose of the gallbladder is to store bile so that when we eat, it can kind of dump the bile into the intestines, help with digestion and absorption of fats. If the gallbladder is not actually there, the body is still producing the bile. However, there's usually not enough of it readily available to be used. Therefore, it's incredibly easy for somebody that is missing a gallbladder to not digest and absorb these fats as well, not get the energy, vitamins, nutrients from it, and may even have a tough time maintaining or gaining body weight if that's what they're trying to do. Some of these vitamins I aforementioned are vitamins A, D, E, and K, which you can become deficient in. So if you are missing a gallbladder, you do want to support bile with bile salts, very important. And the doses that you may need can vary significantly in these cases as well. Additional considerations, somebody that is on a very low-fat diet, cholesterol will produce bile, and cholesterol, a lot of it comes from dietary fat intake. Cholesterol kind of gets a bad annotation for being just a terrible substance to have at all, when in reality, a decent number of cholesterol is incredibly important for our cells and body to function properly. I'm typically not a huge proponent of a low-fat diet unless there's like a dire situation where you have to. Typically, if you're on a low-fat diet, it also means you are on a high-carb diet, which is bad in its own right in a lot of ways. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is another one. This is way more prevalent than we probably think, and it probably affects a lot of people with type 2 diabetes or even pre-diabetes. It results from having a very high sugar and carb intake, which those sugar and carbs that are not burned off are eventually stored as fat, and unfortunately they're stored in the organs, a term called visceral fat, commonly around the liver and the pancreas. And when this happens, it kind of just prevents these organs from doing their jobs appropriately. As you know, one of the functions of the liver is producing bile. Finally, there's a variety of other inflammatory conditions that can kind of cause this dynamic where you would possibly benefit from bile salts. For the purpose of time, I'm not going to go into all of these in this video. All right, so we talked about who should be taking bile salts, but how about who should not be taking bile salts? Who should be avoiding these? Someone that's struggling from a case of diarrhea or chronic diarrhea. Bile helps lubricate the colon, so if you're already having diarrhea, chronic diarrhea, taking bile salts can actually make this worse. This one might surprise you. Hyperthyroid, so not hypo, which is too low, but hyper, which is too high thyroid levels. Bile actually helps convert what is known as T4 thyroid hormone into T3 thyroid hormone. T3 thyroid hormone is the most bioactive, most potent thyroid hormone that our body has. This conversion actually happens surprisingly outside the thyroid in a large extent, and a lot of it happens actually in the kidney and the liver. So normally getting this additional T3 thyroid hormone is great. However, if your level of thyroid hormone is already high, you're not going to want this additional T3 thyroid hormone because it can make all your symptoms and issues with the hyperthyroid worse. And then the last case I'll talk about is bile malabsorption. Normally after the bile is completely finished helping with digesting and absorbing food, it's actually flushed through into the large intestines, where the majority of it is actually cycled back into the liver to be used again. This is a process called enterohepatic circulation. However, if you do have bile malabsorption, this enterohepatic circulation route is not happening, and you have bile just sitting in your large intestines for a longer period of time, and this can lead to diarrhea. A few conditions that are actually associated with bile malabsorption are Crohn's, celiac, and SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. In terms of when to take bile salts, definitely taking them with meals is going to be the best time, especially if the meal is larger or contains a higher quantity of fat. This kind of concludes the section of talking about having a sufficient quantity of bile. Now we're going to get into more of what can be taken or done to optimize bile flow. One way to tell if you may have an issue with bile flow, sluggish bile consistency that's not ideal, is if you get acid reflux after eating a high-fat meal, or if you have a known presence of gallstones. These supplements I'm going to describe now all promote movement of bile through the bile ducts. The first is D-limonene. It's a product that's naturally derived from orange peel and peels of other citrus fruits. It may help clear out bile duct and promote better bile flow, and it's also been known to have some activity against dissolving gallstones that have formed. Taurine is another one that may help promote bile flow and consistency and also help with gallstones. And then polyphenols such as artichoke and olive oil, it can promote the contraction of the gallbladder and emptying of it. And this may also be good to prevent gallstones because you don't have all that bile just sitting there stagnant in the gallbladder. One final note on gallbladder removal. This is kind of a mild rant, I would say, on my end, but I strongly dislike when people say you don't need your gallbladder. This is a very not smart thing to say. It's true that you can survive without it, but at a really significant cost. There are are extreme scenarios when somebody's gallbladder needs to be removed. Yes, that is true. However, every effort should be made possible to prevent that from being removed, including trying the D-limonene for gallstones and some of those other things I mentioned previously. All right, that's all for that, a little side rant, and I just think it's really underemphasized the importance of the gallbladder and what it does for us. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you loved the video. If you found it helpful, please help me out and like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. If there are any topics you'd like to see me cover in the future, please leave them in the comments below. I post a new video every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Have a great week, and thanks for watching.
Are you curious about colostrum and wondering, is it worth the hype? Let's dive into its benefits, safety, and everything you should know about bovine colostrum supplements. What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut. In this video, we're going to answer the questions. Number 1, what is bovine colostrum and how does it work? Number 2, what are the actual health benefits of bovine colostrum? 3, how should you take bovine colostrum? And is there a recommended dosage? And then number 4, what are the safety concerns of taking bovine colostrum and who should be cautious about using it? And then stick around till the very end because I'm going to give you my final take on who may benefit from taking a bovine colostrum supplement. As a quick disclaimer, the information provided in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All right, let's get started. Question number 1, what is bovine colostrum? Bovine colostrum is the first milk that cows produce right after their calf is born, like in the very first few days. This special milk, this colostrum, is packed with nutrients and is produced before the regular milk starts being produced by that cow. Some key nutrients that bovine colostrum has that regular cow's milk that's produced later on is much lower in include IgGs, which are immunoglobulins, also known as antibodies. These are a special type of antibody that boost the immune system to help prevent against infection. In bovine colostrum supplements, this is the main highlighted active ingredient. There's also lactoferrin, which is a special protein that helps prevent infections by stopping bacteria from growing. There's various probiotics, some good, some can be potentially harmful, but ideally these numbers are kept very low. And lastly, there's substances such as growth factors, cytokines, vitamins, and minerals, which round out its nutritional benefits. To give you an idea of how different colostrum is from regular cow's milk, you can look at this chart right here, which is from a 2023 review by the Annual Review of Food Sciences and Technology. Basically, colostrum is like milk on steroids. If you pause the screen and go down the list, you can see that it's exponentially higher in pretty much everything, including the immunoglobulins, all the way down to the vitamins and minerals. All right, so we've established what bovine colostrum is and that it has way more nutrients than regular milk. Does this actually matter though? So question number 2, what are the actual health benefits of bovine colostrum? The majority of research that I looked at did find bovine colostrum to be beneficial. Here's an image from that 2023 annual review that I mentioned previously, just to give you if you're a visual learner, this can help break down some of the potential benefits of the bovine colostrum. This 2021 review by Society of Nutrition and Food Science Journal found that bovine colostrum intake can improve gastrointestinal symptoms, such as protection against pathogenic microbial growth. This means harmful bacteria. Enhancement of beneficial microbiota means increasing good bacteria. Reduction of endotoxinemia means preventing harmful toxins from getting into the bloodstream. Modulation of the immune response, which means lowering immune response that we don't want and increasing immune response that we do want. Stimulation of growth and repair of damaged intestinal tissues and restoration of gut permeability. This means helping with leaky gut and being able to absorb nutrients a little bit better through those intestinal cells. And then at the end here, it's saying bovine colostrum may be something good to help prevent or treat various factors where the GI tract is not working as well as it should be. As I mentioned, this has to do with reducing inflammation, supporting the immune system, rebalancing the microbiome, and addressing leaky gut. And one condition that is linked to an imbalanced microbiome, leaky gut, chronic inflammation, impaired immune system is SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. If you've been diagnosed with SIBO or suspect you may have it, my online program, SIBO Shortcut, has the exact steps that you should be taking. Plus, you receive personalized support from me and a private Facebook group. People are getting great results from it so far. If you want to learn more, click the link in the pinned comment below that says SIBO shortcut. There's also a free 10-minute SIBO training video where you can hear me break down the 5 major steps to treating SIBO. You can click the SIBO training link in the pinned comment below as well to view that. Back to the video. While there is a lot of research supporting the use of bovine colostrum, however, not all the data is shown to be beneficial, including this 2020 review and meta-analysis by Nutrients Journal, which found bovine colostrum has no significant effect on selected immunological outcomes, including lymphocytes, neutrophils, serum IgGs, serum IgAs, and saliva serum IgAs in athletes and physically active people. This is highly important, especially in the presence of another meta-analysis confirming a positive effect of bovine colostrum. Basically, what this meta-analysis is saying is that bovine colostrum didn't seem to make a difference when they looked at the levels of the immunoglobulin antibodies. Moving on, question number 3, how to take bovine colostrum and what is the recommended dosage? You can find bovine colostrum in a variety of different forms, such as powder, capsules, tablets, and liquid. After looking around a lot online, there doesn't really seem to be an exact standard dosage of what to take. Some studies use doses ranging anywhere from 200 milligrams per day all the way to 60 grams per day, which is a massive range. Even at 60 grams per day, the bovine colostrum didn't really seem to cause notable side effects or adverse reactions, so we can pretty much assume that it's a relatively safe supplement to take. We'll get into side effects later and who should not take it, but the best advice I could really give dosage wise seems kind of like a cop-out answer, but I would just follow what it says on the specific bottle that you're looking to take. For a lot of them, this is going to be between 1 gram of IgG and 2 grams of IgG, taken either at one whole dose or split up into 2 doses throughout the day on an empty stomach. And if you'd like to try a bovine colostrum supplement, check out my full script online dispensary by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. You get 20% off everything, not just bovine colostrum supplements. Lastly, question number 4, is bovine colostrum safe to take and who should be cautious when using it? As I started to mention before, bovine colostrum supplements are generally safe to take for most people. They may cause mild side effects such as abdominal pain, gas, and diarrhea. Bovine colostrum does contain lactose, so if you are lactose intolerant, this is probably not going to be a good idea for you to use. Same thing with a dairy sensitivity or allergy, as bovine colostrum is dairy. All right, moving on to final thoughts. There's still a lot of research being done on bovine colostrum. It's kind of a hot topic right now, and there's still some debate on which conditions it should be used for. As I showed you before, there's a lot of different nutrients and substances in bovine colostrum, and depending on which supplement you use, they can be vastly different. Some products are a complete colostrum with everything that you saw previously. Other ones mainly contain just the IgGs and protein. My final take, for most people, since bovine colostrum is generally going to be considered to be very safe for most people, there's not really much of a downside to trying it. This is assuming you don't have a lactose or dairy sensitivity. For most people, the worst case scenario is you're just not going to get benefit from it, but the upside of trying it could be really good. Basically, I would say if you're having digestive issues or just feel like there's something off in your GI tract, I don't really see a reason why you couldn't at least give it a try for a short period of time, see if it makes a difference. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. I post a new full-length video every Monday and YouTube Shorts daily throughout the week. Since you watched till the end, I think you'll enjoy one of these 2 videos next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you're feeling bloated, check out this video because I'm going to share my favorite bloating supplements as well as how and when to take them. What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, creator of SIBO Shortcut, as well as the digestion supplement bloat blocker. This video is going to be a guide for you on my favorite available supplement options for bloating and provide you with everything you need to know in terms of dosing, when to take them, potential side effects, and a lot more. And if you want to see the suggested products that I'm going to talk about, you can click the link down in the description below that says full script to see the entire list, and you'll get 20% off everything. There's a lot of different supplement options for bloating, and they all work a little bit differently. So depending on your unique situation, some may be more appropriate than others. And as a quick disclaimer, the information that's going to be provided in this video is for educational purposes only and not meant to be a substitute from medical advice from your doctor. All right, and now let's get started with the supplements. The very first supplement that I'm going to talk about for bloating is my personal favorite. You may say that I'm a little bit biased, which technically is fair, but this is the bloating supplement that I created. It's called Bloat Blocker. And in my personal opinion, this is the best option available that nobody's really heard of and nobody's used it. It's made from 2 natural ingredients in proper quantities that work synergistically, which are tamarind seed as well as pea protein powder. The timing of this supplement doesn't really matter when you take it, but typically I recommend taking it right before meals or with meals. Proper dosage is to do 1 capsule 2 to 3 times daily. People see results as soon as day 1, but typically it works better when you use it on an ongoing basis. The studies that have looked at the active ingredients that are in bloat blocker have found virtually 0 side effects, and long-term studies up to 6 months have been done looking at the active ingredients in bloat blocker and showing that they are safe through this time period. In addition to this, the active ingredients in bloat blocker have also shown in studies to be effective for correcting irregular bowel movements, both loose stools and constipation. This is likely due to it lowering inflammation and addressing leaky gut. So bloat blocker, good for bloating, but also good for a variety of digestive symptoms and overall gut health. If you want to check it out, go to blueorchardwellness.com, link down in the description below and also right here on the screen. Second supplement we'll talk about is activated charcoal. This is typically used after meals or before bedtime. Typical dose is about 250 to 500 milligrams per dose, used 2 to 3 times daily. I would space it out at least 6 hours. This one is known to cause some constipation and even black stools, which isn't necessarily harmful. The charcoal just is a black color. So if you do experience constipation, I would stop or reduce the dosage. It's not really meant to be used on a daily basis. Supplement number 3 is carminative herbs. These are herbs that help reduce trapped gas, things such as peppermint, fennel, and chamomile. They essentially can shake free the trapped gas that forms in the intestine. Like the activated charcoal, they're not really meant to be used on a daily basis, more so as needed. Fourth option is betaine HCl with pepsin and or apple cider vinegar. These are stomach acid boosting supplements meant to help you digest food better and prevent bloating. I prefer taking them in the middle of the meal because this allows your body to produce the stomach acid it is able to produce first, and then when you add the additional supplement, you get the additional benefit. Otherwise, if you were to take them before the meal, your body may sense that extra acid and not produce as much of its own. I'd recommend taking these with meals that do contain protein as opposed to something just like a piece of fruit. Start with 1 capsule for the dose. Typically, if you're using betaine HCl, this is going to be about 650 milligrams of betaine. And if you're using apple cider vinegar, you could start with the smallest quantity of about 1 teaspoon or 5 milliliters of apple cider vinegar in a few ounces or about 60 milliliters of water. One side effect that can happen from these medications is a heartburn type feeling. Typically, if this is due to the betaine HCl or apple cider vinegar, it will happen relatively quickly within the first hour or so. If this is the case, I would stop taking these supplements or reduce the dosage. For a video on how to taper up or down the dosage, you can check this video right here. Supplement number 5 is ginger root. This actually helps with the motility in the stomach in the beginning portion of the small intestine, which can indirectly help with bloating. You can take these either with an empty stomach or with meals. Dosage is about 500 milligrams up to 1,000 milligrams per dose, and you can use this up to 3 times daily. Ginger may also be helpful for upset stomach, and as a side effect, sometimes people may experience that ginger burn feeling in your throat or chest area. Supplement number 6, digestive enzymes. These can be really good, especially if you have that bloating down, not like in your stomach where your sternum is, but down lower near your belly button, that lower belly bloat area. I would take these in the middle of meals unless you have an actual known issue with pancreatic insufficiency. In that case, typically you'd use a much higher dose of digestive enzymes, even a prescription, and do that before your meals or snacks. Using these multiple times per day is okay. I would typically recommend using the dosage that's listed on the bottle, which usually is 1 capsule. It is possible to get some loose stools if you overuse these, so just something to be aware of. And I'm not aware of any specific issues with using digestive enzymes on a long-term basis. Supplement number 7 is digestive bitters. These are liquid tinctures that are normally placed drops onto your tongue, used before meals, typically 10 or 15 minutes before meals, to stimulate digestion. I would follow the exact instructions on the bottle because they can differ from product to product depending on how potent or strong they are, so you know the exact and proper amount of drops to use. All right, only 2 supplements left. This one and the next one are going to be more for bloating that's attributed to leaky gut. Supplement number 8 is glutamine. This is best used when on an empty stomach, preferably earlier in the day as well. A normal dosage is about 2.5 to 5 milligrams, used once to twice daily. There's a lot of studies and research on glutamine, even used at much higher dosages, and this is likely safe to be used on a long-term basis. There is a couple side effects to be aware of with glutamine. It is a natural stimulant to the body, so if you do have trouble sleeping or anxiety, this is one supplement that can potentially worsen these side effects. So if you have trouble sleeping, I'd recommend using it only in the morning and not in the evening. And if you have these side effects, it may be something to use very cautiously, even much lower than 2.5 milligrams once daily. And then very last supplement, these are known as mucilaginous herbs, or herbs that help reform the mucus layer in the intestine and protect the intestinal lining. These ones can be used either on an empty stomach or with food. Again, I'd recommend using the exact recommended dosage on the bottle. They're likely to be perfectly fine to use on a long-term basis, and they're not really associated with many side effects. So that's my list of my preferred supplements to be used for bloating. If you want to see the specific product recommendations that I have, again, you can click that link that says full script down in the description below and shop there for everything 20% off. The only thing not listed is going to be bloat blocker, which you'll need to go to blueorchardwellness.com. Blue is spelled B-L-U. There's a link also down in the description for that as well. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. If you have a product that you have had work for you, let us know what it is down in the comments section below. If you're new to my channel, I post a new full-length video every Monday in YouTube Shorts throughout the week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
What's up, and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients resolve bloating, gas, and digestive problems so they can look and feel their best. You may have heard about the benefits of probiotics for gut health, but with so many options out there, how do you know specifically which ones are the best ones to take? Don't worry though, in this video, we're going to go over all the best options for loose stools and diarrhea that are based off of scientific research. Probiotics are live organisms. When consumed in the right amounts, can have a lot of different benefits to our bodies, such as improving digestion, improving immune function, and just contributing to overall well-being. Before you take any medication or supplement, you should know the specific purpose of why you are taking that product. Then you want to look for the best possible option so that the outcome you're looking for is more likely to happen. For example, if you're looking to take a trip to Antarctica, the winter coat that you're going to want to wear on that trip is going to be extremely different than the winter coat you might want to wear if you're going out to dinner at a restaurant in a trendy neighborhood. While there's thousands of potential winter jackets that you could buy that are available, if you're going to Antarctica, you're going to want the one that's the absolute warmest, and you're probably not going to care as much how it looks, unless you're just doing it for Instagram. But the same is true for choosing a probiotic. Taking just any random probiotic is the same thing as just picking a random winter jacket. If you're dealing with diarrhea and loose stools, you're going to want to take the option that's been proven through science to be the best. And that's what we're going to go over for the rest of this video. This 2018 guide from the Public Library of Sciences evaluated probiotics from over 2,500 studies to find the best possible strains for a variety of conditions. Each of these probiotic strains had multiple randomized controlled trials done, which is the highest level of study that you can possibly do for each one individual study, if that makes sense. And they looked at how well these probiotics worked for each specific condition, such as diarrhea and loose stools. So I'm going to read here verbatim. These are quotes directly from this review. For antibiotic-associated diarrhea, it says strong evidence for efficacy was found for 3 probiotics to prevent antibiotic-associated diarrhea: Saccharomyces boulardii or Lactobacillus casei, and then it also says or the multi-strain formulation of Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus casei, and Lactobacillus rhamnosus. Then for pediatric acute diarrhea, it says efficacy for the treatment of pediatric acute diarrhea was strongly supported for Saccharomyces boulardii, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Lactobacillus reuteri, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus casei. After this, it has Bacillus clausii and an 8-strain mixture, which is a probiotic called VSL number 3. For irritable bowel disease, it says strong efficacy evidence was also found for an 8-strain mixture. Again, this is the VSL number 3 for the treatment of irritable bowel disease. For irritable bowel syndrome, this is often things such as SIBO, meaning chronic diarrhea for basically an unknown cause, something that's not showing up on scans and things like that. It says Lactobacillus plantarum or Bifidobacterium infantis were better for IBS. For prevention of traveler's diarrhea, quote, found strong evidence for Saccharomyces boulardii, while Lactobacillus rhamnosus had weak evidence. And then last category, this actually I didn't find in this particular guide, so I looked elsewhere at some other studies and research. So it's diarrhea associated with lactose intolerance. The evidence for specific probiotics for diarrhea from lactose intolerance wasn't quite as strong as some of the other literature and research that I looked at, but there definitely was quite a bit of support. This 2020 study by Nutrients Journal and this 2021 review by
by Cambridge University showed that some potential options that could help with diarrhea caused by lactose intolerance may include Streptococcus thermophilus, Lactobacillus bulgaricus. These two strains are often found in yogurt, actually. And then it also had Lactobacillus plantarum, Bifidobacterium animalis, which is also called Bifidobacterium lactis, Lactobacillus acidophilus, and Lactobacillus reuteri. If you summarize all these results, some names of these strains of probiotics that just seem to be popping up in each different category were Saccharomyces boulardii, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, and Lactobacillus plantarum, those four. So if I had diarrhea or loose stools and was just looking to get a probiotic, I would probably try to find one that has as many of those strains in it as possible. My favorite probiotics right now are made by a company called Wise Human, which I'm proud to say that I am affiliated with. I like them because all their products are made by looking at clinical studies like the ones that we're talking about right now, picking out the specific strains that have shown to work the most times in the most places, and creating products from them so you know you're getting a quality product that is proven to work and backed by science. They have a men's daily, a women's daily, and the Advanced Gut Care Plus, which I have right here. All of these products have the four strains that I mentioned before, the Saccharomyces boulardii, Lactobacillus acidophilus, plantarum, and rhamnosus. If you want to check them out, there's a link down in the description and you can get 15% off. Just use code DRDan15. In terms of the best dosages to use for the probiotics, this review indicates that the probiotics for treatment indications should be given at a dose of 1 to 2 times 10 to the 10th CFUs, which is colony forming units per day, until symptoms resolve or go into remission. Colony forming units is basically how many live bacteria there are. So to put this in terms that make more sense, the bacterial count is 10 billion to 20 billion live cultures. This number is definitely a generalization, and depending on the specific situation or severity of the condition, you may want to use a lower or higher amount of bacteria. It also may be a good idea to start low and taper up the dosage of the probiotic just to prevent any potential bloating or flatulence when you first start taking the probiotic. You can do this over 1 to 2 weeks. To sum it up, every person and individual situation is going to be different, but for most people, when choosing a probiotic and you're looking for loose stools and diarrhea to go away, it's probably a good idea to look for products that contain Saccharomyces boulardii, Lactobacillus plantarum, acidophilus, and rhamnosus. This is obviously unless you have a known allergy to any one of these strains, then in that case, obviously avoid them. And for the majority of people, a good amount of bacteria to have in a product is probably going to be between 10 and 20 billion bacteria. This wraps up this week's video on which probiotic are the best to take for diarrhea and loose stools based on scientific literature. I hope this information really helps you in making a more informed decision on which probiotics you may want to take. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more science-based content on gut health and fitness. I post a new full-length video every Monday and YouTube shorts throughout the week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. What's up, and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients resolve bloating, gas, and digestive problems so they can look and feel their best. Last week, I made a video about the best specific strains of probiotics to be used for diarrhea based on scientific research. This week, we're doing something similar, but also opposite. We're going to dive into a topic today that affects a lot of us, which is constipation. Maybe you're currently dealing with constipation or know somebody who is. It's important to understand that there's many potential causes of constipation, even things such as poor diet, lack of movement or exercise, dehydration, and even certain medications can cause constipation. But it seems like anytime a gut, digestion, constipation type issue comes up, somebody's probably asked you, have you tried taking a probiotic? Well, this can be helpful. There's a lot of different types of probiotics and specific bacterial strains in these probiotic products. It's just a fact that not all probiotics are created equal. So in this video, we're going to discuss the best specific bacterial strains of probiotics for the treatment of constipation based on scientific research. To make this video, I looked at several meta-analyses of studies related to this topic. A meta-analysis is just a grouping of a lot of different studies that are all evaluating the same basic thing, so it gives you more data to look at and help you determine what's really going on. This 2020 review and meta-analyses of 17 studies done by the International Journal of Surgery looked at how well probiotics worked and how safe they were in treating people that had constipation predominant irritable bowel syndrome, which means patients had constipation, but there wasn't a clear-cut obvious reason why they had constipation. There were 6 studies in this meta-analysis specifically looking at one strain of bacteria called Bifidobacterium lactis. And to quote the article here, subgroup analysis showed that Bifidobacterium lactis resulted in significantly higher stool frequency. And it shows here that this Bifidobacterium lactis, on average throughout all these studies of people that did it, they had 1.51 bowel movements more each week. So for example, if somebody had 3 bowel movements a week normally, it brought them up to 4.5, which is not bad. This Bifidobacterium also improved slightly the quality of stools people were having. I'm going to put up here on the screen the Bristol stool chart. This is basically a photo of every type of poop you could possibly have, starting at a type 1, which is extremely constipated, down to a type 7, which is liquid, which is very bad diarrhea. So ideally you want to be somewhere in the middle. 4 would be technically perfect, 3 to 5 range, not bad as well. And the people that use this Bifidobacterium lactis in these studies, their stool score went up by 0.46 points. So you could think of this, maybe it went from a 2 to about a 2.5. So not a drastic improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. There were also 3 other studies looking at a couple other individual bacteria. One study looked at a strain called E. coli nissel. A second one looked at a probiotic strain called Lactobacillus reuteri. And a third looked at a combination of Lactobacillus plantarum, Bifidobacterium brevi, and Bifidobacterium lactis. The results of these were actually a little bit better than the Bifidobacterium lactis studies. So to compare it, patients increased the number of bowel movements they had each week by 1.82 on average, so a little bit higher than the Bifidobacterium lactis. And there was also an improvement of 0.89 points on the Bristol stool scale. So better than the Bifidobacterium lactis as well for these 3 studies. That would be like going from a stool of number 2 to a number 3. So while this information is promising for these other 3 studies, there's only one study done that looked at each of these probiotic strains compared to the 6 for Bifidobacterium lactis. So one study, it could just be a fluke thing, and I'd probably like to see more research on these other strains of bacteria before we can consider them to be effective probiotics for constipation. Some other meta-analyses that I looked at include this 2014 meta-analysis done by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and this 2014 meta-analysis done by the American Journal of Gastroenterology. As I was going through all these meta-analyses, I actually found that a lot of the studies they're looking at were the same, which kind of points to the fact that there may not be a lot of actual information on this, which I found really surprising. The last bacterial strain I'd like to mention is one called Lactobacillus casei, and it had interesting results actually when I looked at the data. This bacterial strain is common in a lot of probiotic fermented type foods that are supposed to help with constipation, a couple being Actimel and Yakult. And while there are a few scattered sporadic individual studies that show that it may be helpful for constipation, majority of the data in the meta-analyses actually showed that it may not be having any benefit at all. In the first meta-analysis, it's noted that Lactobacillus casei shirota, which is a subspecies, did not significantly affect stool frequency compared to placebo. And if you look at it, it actually had 0.2 bowel movements per week less than the placebo group. So in summary, it seems to me from the data that I looked at that the only probiotic strain that I really feel comfortable saying that has an impact on constipation is Bifidobacterium lactis. Again, that's not to say that some of these other species that we looked at in this video or other species that exist won't be helpful, but based on the data available, this is really the one conclusion that I can draw. In terms of dosage, it's also kind of unclear what the best dosage of this Bifidobacterium lactis might be. The studies that I looked at included patients taking anywhere from 10 million bacteria per day all the way to 12.5 billion. So using the higher dose compared to the lower dose, it's actually 1,000 times more, which is a massive amount difference. So if I had to choose a dose, I'd probably have you take the higher amount, somewhere around like 10 billion. Again, this is just me speculating, but that dose of probiotic is way easier to find, and it's been found to be more effective for other types of conditions. And that is basically it. To be honest, I expected to find a lot more data and more potential options for bacterial strains that you could use for constipation. So besides Bifidobacterium lactis, it's still really unclear what other options may be available, and more studies are needed on this topic. That is all for today. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you've used a probiotic before for constipation that has worked for you, I'd love to know what it is. Please leave a comment down below. And if you're new to my channel, I post a new full-length video every Monday evening and YouTube shorts throughout the week. Everything is on on gut health and fitness related topics. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next video. What's up and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut, the online program giving you exactly what you need to eliminate small intestinal bacterial overgrowth and intestinal methanogen overgrowth. Probiotics are a really interesting topic when it comes to SIBO. And in this week's video, we're going to discuss the available research on a specific type of probiotic called soil-based probiotics for the treatment of SIBO. Soil-based probiotics are a specific type of probiotic that contain beneficial bacteria that are found in soil in the ground. If you see the name of the probiotic begin with the word bacillus, you'll know it's a soil-based bacteria. Some common soil-based probiotics include Bacillus coagulans, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus clausii, and Bacillus licheniformis. These bacillus species are different from a lot of other probiotics because of their ability to survive the strong acid of the stomach, as well as make it through the intestines while still being alive, which surprisingly is not the case for a lot of probiotics. Bacillus species are also known to produce antimicrobial peptides, produce some vitamins such as vitamin B2 and vitamin B12, and they can help regulate the types and quantities of bacteria that are in your microbiome. Now that you know a little bit about what soil-based probiotics are, let's take a look at some of the available research. This 2020 study by Gastroenterology Research and Practice Journal looked at the impact of two probiotics used in combination for patients with hydrogen-dominant SIBO. One of these probiotics was Bacillus subtilis R0179, which is the soil-based probiotic, and they used it at a dosage of 4.4 billion live cultures 3 times daily for 4 weeks. The other probiotic was Enterococcus faecium R0026, and this was used at a dosage of 600 billion live units 3 times daily for 4 weeks. These two probiotics were used in a single supplement called Medelac S. This study found that 4 weeks of live combined Bacillus subtilis and Enterococcus faecium supplementation after the bowel preparation and colonoscopy can significantly alleviate patients' gastrointestinal symptoms, reduce patients' body weight, and decontaminate SIBO. To show you percentages, this chart from the study shows that for the people who took the probiotics, including the soil-based probiotics, 60% had SIBO before the treatment and only 28% of people had SIBO after treatment. To make this even more simple, the probiotics worked for 8 of the 15 people with SIBO, or 53%. Per the study, the regimen, including the soil-based probiotic, seemed to be effective for hydrogen-dominant SIBO. Obviously, it contained the Enterococcus faecium as well, so we can't give all of the credit to the soil-based probiotic. Nevertheless, it definitely seemed to have some benefit for SIBO. This 2019 study by Nutrients Journal compared a common antibiotic used for SIBO to a combination of soil-based probiotics to see which was better for irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. As shown in this image here, patients either got one of the two treatments. Treatment number 1, which is indicated by G1/G3, is 10 days of rifaximin, which is an antibiotic, at a dose of 1200 milligrams daily, followed by either 24 days of low FODMAP diet or 24 days of a nutraceutic product containing a combination of Bifidobacterium longum W11, which is a probiotic, in combination with prebiotics, which are different types of fiber, including soluble fiber and group B vitamins, such as vitamin B1, 2, 6, and 12. That was all one treatment regimen. The other treatment regimen, which is under G2, is 34 days of Megaspore Biotic, which is the product containing 5 different strains of soil-based probiotic, including Bacillus licheniformis, Bacillus indicus HU36, Bacillus subtilis HU58, Bacillus clausii, Bacillus coagulans. And this probiotic was taken 1 capsule daily for the first 7 days, and then 2 capsules daily for the following 27 days, for a total of 34 days of treatment. And for the results of the study, there was a scale used in this particular research trial known as the IBS-SS score, which stands for IBS Severity Score, and they ranked it from 0 to 500, where 0 means you have no symptoms, 500 means your symptoms are really, really bad. And they took a look at things like abdominal distension, quality of life, and a few different metrics. You can see the results of the study in this chart here. Keep in mind, G2 is the soil-based probiotic group, and G1 and G3 are the groups that use rifaximin with vitamins. Visit 1 is pre-treatment, visit 2 is after day 10, visit 3 is after day 35, 34 and visit 4s after day 60. As you can see, by day 34, the soil-based probiotic treatment group, which is G2, seemed to be at least as good, maybe slightly better than the rifaximin plus FODMAP or vitamins groups for lowering the IBS symptoms. And then by day 60, the results seemed to be about the same, with significant improvement in IBS symptoms in all of the groups. From V1 to V4, the IBS SS score is down from the 260 range all the way down to somewhere in the 40s, so significant improvement. Therefore, per this study, the soil-based probiotic Metaspore Biotic, which I am not affiliated with in any way, may be as effective as rifaximin and the low FODMAP diet / vitamins / prebiotics probiotics at reducing IBS symptoms. It is important to note that this study did not directly test patients for SIBO. However, because SIBO has been shown to be a very, very common cause of IBS, we can't overlook the potential benefit of soil-based probiotics from this research study. Bacillus species have been shown to be beneficial in numerous other studies as well. I'll briefly touch on 3 more of them here. Bacillus coagulans is likely the most researched species of soil-based probiotic. It was found to be useful for IBS in this 2021 study by the Journal of Medicine, finding that probiotic Bacillus coagulans LBSC DSM 17654 with a dose of 2 × 10 to the 9th CFUs. That basically just means 2 billion units for thrice a day. That just means 3 times a day. It was well tolerated, found safe, and showed significant alleviation in IBS-associated clinical symptoms like bloating, cramping, abdominal pain, diarrhea, constipation, stomach rumbling, nausea, vomiting, headache, and anxiety compared to the placebo group. And then it went on to say Bacillus coagulans LBSC treatment improved stool consistency, decreased the severity, and confirmed better quality of life to IBS patients. So that's study number 1. There's also this 2016 study by Nutrients Journal, which showed that IBS patients who received Bacillus coagulans MTCC 5856 at a dose of 2 × 10 to the 9th, again 2 billion live units a day, reported a significant decrease in their clinical symptoms like bloating, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, stool frequency from the placebo arm. And then finally, this 2018 study from the Food and Nutrition Research Journal found that Bacillus coagulans MTCC 5856 showed robust efficacy for the treatment of patients experiencing IBS symptoms with major depressive disorder. The improvement in depression and IBS symptoms was statistically significant and clinically meaningful. These findings support Bacillus coagulans MTCC 5856 as an important new treatment option for major depressive disorder in IBS patients. So as you can see, there are numerous studies supporting the use of soil-based probiotics for SIBO treatment and also reducing IBS symptoms, which seem to be very related to SIBO. These may not be helpful for everybody with SIBO or irritable bowel, but they're definitely an option to keep in mind. I did not personally use this type of probiotic back when I was healing and treating myself for SIBO. There really wasn't a specific reason I didn't use a soil-based probiotic back in January of 2020, besides the fact that I was more inexperienced and really didn't know what I was doing. I did, however, utilize a probiotic including lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species to help with gut healing after doing herbals to treat SIBO. Per other research, there are different types of probiotics that also seem to be beneficial for treating SIBO besides the soil-based probiotics. For most people, it's probably a good idea to incorporate all 3 different types, which are 1, soil-based, 2, combination of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species, and number 3, Saccharomyces boulardii, which is a beneficial yeast. As always, what works for one person may not work for somebody else. If you find that you do have a lot of sensitivities to medications and supplements, it may be a good idea to introduce each of these probiotic types separately, one at a time, so you're better able to gauge how each type of probiotic is affecting you. That is all for today. If you found the video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more related content. If you're new here, I post a full-length video every Monday and YouTube shorts daily throughout the week, all on gut health related content. Since you watched till the end, I think you may enjoy one of these 2 videos here next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. What's up? I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut, a program to help you eliminate bloating, gas, and digestive symptoms from SIBO as quickly and easily as possible. Glutamine, aka L-glutamine, is a supplement that frequently comes up when it comes to gut health. Some people swear by it, other people say it does nothing. This video is meant to cover how specifically glutamine helps and who may benefit from taking L-glutamine. We'll discuss what glutamine is, how it works, and then we'll get into some various conditions that glutamine may be helpful for. So what is glutamine? Glutamine is an amino acid that can be used for tons of body processes. I like to think of glutamine and amino acid kind of like bricks. You can use them to build a school, a house, a fireplace. The point is your body uses the same amino acid, in this case glutamine, for a countless number of things. Humans can produce some glutamine on their own, but glutamine is also available in a wide variety of foods, specifically foods that contain protein. All right, 3 ways that glutamine can help. Number 1 is leaky gut, aka intestinal hyperpermeability. There's a thin layer of cells in the lining of your small intestine called the enterocytes, and when you have leaky gut, these enterocytes can become spaced apart. When they become spaced apart, this means your immune system can become more active, causing more inflammation. And anytime that you have more inflammation, you're more likely to have more side effects. These can include gastrointestinal side effects such as bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, and non-gastrointestinal side effects such as headaches, brain fog, and chronic fatigue. The second way glutamine can help is that it can speed up your body's ability to produce new enterocytes. This is helpful because when enterocytes become damaged, glutamine can help form new ones quicker to replace the old or damaged ones. And the third way that glutamine can help is that there's a lot of chemical processes that take place before inflammation occurs, and glutamine can help stop some of this inflammation by preventing some of these chemical processes from happening. These are just 3 of the ways that glutamine can help us. This is by no means a complete list, but by understanding these 3, you have a general idea of what glutamine can do as a supplement. Now let's take a closer look at a few specific conditions that glutamine can help for. The first one we'll talk about is irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. This 2021 study by Frontiers in Nutrition Journal looked at how well glutamine helped to improve IBS symptoms, bowel habits, and allow patients to enjoy social events. In this study, there were 2 groups. One group only used the low FODMAP diet, and the other group used the low FODMAP diet plus a glutamine supplementation at 15 grams per day for 6 weeks. The study found that compared to using the low FODMAP diet by itself, improvement in IBS severity score of more than 45% was observed in 22 of 25 participants, or 88% in the glutamine group, while it was only 15 of 25 participants, or 60% in the control group. No serious adverse events were observed. So basically it means that per this study, it seems like the low FODMAP diet can help reduce symptoms for patients with IBS symptoms, but then when you add glutamine into the mix, it can be even more helpful. Don't get me wrong, a 45% reduction in IBS severity is wonderful, but a 45% improvement doesn't exactly seem like it's fixing the problem or addressing the root cause. And addressing your root cause is the key. Are you tired of feeling bloated, gassy, and exhausted after every meal? Do you dream of being able to enjoy your favorite healthy foods again without the fear of discomfort? And is SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, holding you back from living your best life? If yes, don't deal with the discomfort, frustrations, and limitations of SIBO anymore. Check out SIBO Shortcut instead, your ultimate solution for regaining control of your digestive health and vitality. Imagine indulging in a delicious, fiber-rich meal without worrying about painful bloating and embarrassing gas afterwards. SIBO Shortcut helps you enjoy those fruits, vegetables, and other healthy foods you used to eat, and the constant fatigue that's been dragging you down. By addressing the root cause of your SIBO symptoms, SIBO Shortcut helps you regain lost energy so you can get back to crushing your workouts. The SIBO Shortcut method is backed by scientific research to eliminate SIBO quickly and prevent it from coming back. Better yet, you can incorporate SIBO Shortcut effortlessly into your daily routine. You'll enjoy a renewed sense of confidence without the fear of unpredictable symptoms. Don't let SIBO dictate your life any longer. Choose SIBO Shortcut and begin on the path to bloat-free living. Click the first link in the description below to receive a limited time discount on your purchase of SIBO Shortcut. And now, back to the rest of the video. Per this 2017 review by the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, glutamine may also be able to play a role in healing from celiac disease. This study indicates that maintaining intestinal permeability by tight junction proteins has shown to be beneficial for treatment of multiple intestinal pathologic conditions such as inflammatory bowel disease and celiac disease. These studies suggest that glutamine supplementation may be beneficial for individuals with an impaired gut permeability by enhancing the expression of tight junction proteins. This basically means that glutamine may be able to help prevent leaky gut, and that fixing leaky gut has been shown to help with celiac disease. Therefore, if A equals B and B equals C, therefore glutamine could help. The third condition or situation that glutamine can help for is immune system support. This 2018 review by Nutrients Journal discusses the impact that glutamine has on the immune system. It indicates immune cells largely depend on glutamine availability to survive, proliferate, and function, and ultimately defend our body against pathogens. During catabolic catabolic, hypercatabolic circumstances, basically when your body's sick, under stress, something of that nature, the demand for glutamine increases dramatically, a fact that may lead to a glutamine deprivation and severe impairment of the immune function. Basically, your body uses glutamine for a wide variety of different purposes. Without enough of it, things can get bad very quickly, and when you're sick, your body's demand for glutamine increases as well. Another condition that glutamine may be helpful for is burns. By no means am I an expert on this topic, but there's a lot of research, such as this 2022 study by the Journal of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition, that indicates that glutamine can get rapidly depleted during burns, and that supplementing with glutamine can be helpful in these situations. This is in line with supporting your immune system when your body is sick or under stress. As a quick note, burns can be very, very serious, so this would be typically done in a hospital setting, and you likely wouldn't be supplementing on your own in this case with glutamine. And the fifth and final condition that we'll talk about today where glutamine can be helpful is for mental health, specifically depression. This 2021 review by Food Science and Human Wellness Journal indicates a high ratio of Firmicutes to Bacteroides strongly correlates to obesity and metabolic issues. After 14 days of supplementation, the glutamine group showed a significantly reduced Firmicutes to Bacteroides ratio. It goes on to say an optimized gut microbiome is more likely to perform neurotransmitter synthesis and other functions more efficiently. To summarize this paragraph here, Firmicutes and Bacteroides are two different types of bacteria. Glutamine may be able to favorably balance them to help recalibrate your microbiome. An optimized microbiome likely helps produce neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine more effectively, and these two neurotransmitters are critical for good mental health. And depression specifically was mentioned in this article. To summarize, glutamine is the most plentiful amino acid found in your body. Your body can produce it, but in certain situations, supplementing may be a good idea to do. Glutamine can help with many different body processes, including helping with leaky gut, creating new intestinal cells, aka enterocytes, preventing chemical reactions that lead to inflammation, and many others. In terms of conditions, glutamine may be able to help with intestinal conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome and celiac disease, burn victims, immune system support, and even mental health conditions such as depression. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. I post a new video every Monday and YouTube shorts throughout the week. And if you found this video helpful, you may be interested in watching this one next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients with digestive issues such as bloating and gas so they can look and feel their best. Betaine HCl is a supplement that you can take, which usually comes in pill form, and it's meant to increase the amount of stomach acid that you have in your stomach. And this is helpful because it can both help with digestion and absorption of food and nutrients. And this just basically helps you feel healthy, strong, and not have indigestion. A lot of times this medication is listed as betaine HCl with pepsin, and this pepsin is an enzyme that helps digest protein. So this is also a valid form of this supplement. Today I'm going to discuss a question that I've heard a few times recently. Can you become dependent on betaine HCl? Meaning, if you stop taking it, will your body stop producing its own stomach acid? And will you keep requiring higher and higher doses of this betaine HCl in order to receive the same digestive support? All right, again, can you become dependent on betaine HCl? The short answer is no. I haven't read any studies or data that indicate this whatsoever. When betaine HCl is ingested into the body, it dissociates or breaks apart into its single components, and one of them being a single positively charged hydrogen atom called a proton. These single positively charged hydrogen ions are what make stomach acid. They're what's doing the heavy lifting in the digestion, breaking down of food so you can get the nutrients from the food. By taking betaine HCl, we're literally doing nothing more than just adding stomach acid into our body. We are not altering any systems in the body for more than a very, very short period of time. Let's look at the research behind this to get a little bit of a better understanding. One 2013 study published by the Journal of Molecular Pharmaceutics took a look at betaine HCl and looked at two things. One, how long it took to start working and the duration of action, how long it continued to work for. And two,
basically how much more acidic it made the stomach. We're looking at the pH scale, and keep in mind with the pH scale, the lower the number, the more acidic. So it looked at a starting pH of around 4, and then it looked at how good it was at bringing the pH down. And let's look at the first graphic that we have here. It indicates the onset of effect of betaine HCl was rapid, with a mean time to pH under 3 of 6.3 plus or minus 4.3 minutes. So this part basically means that in order to get the pH down to where the stomach is very acidic, it only took about 6 minutes. So basically starts working in 6 minutes. And then it says the reacidification period was temporary, with a gastric pH under 3 and under 4 lasting 73 plus or minus 33 and 77 plus or minus 30 minutes. And this basically means for the stomach to become not acidic again, it takes about 73 to 77 minutes. So this means that this medication increases stomach acid for about 75 minutes. So 1 hour and 15 minutes is how long it works for. And then if you're a more visual learner, here is also a graph to kind of just explain what I just said, but for a way you can see it and more conceptualize it. On the left of the graph, we have a pH scale. Again, remember, the lower the number on the pH, the higher the acidity. So you can see in this study, that was a 2013 study by the Journal of Molecular Pharmacology, the betaine HCl was taken at minute 150. As you can see, at minute 150, the pH is previously about 5, but then shortly after taking the betaine HCl, the pH drops very quickly, becomes more acidic. It lasts for about 50 to 75 minutes, it looks like, for these patients, and then after it wears off and the pH goes back to where it was in the beginning. And again, betaine HCl only lasts for a very short period of time, so the next time that you eat, even if you don't take the betaine HCl pepsin, your stomach will try to put out as much stomach acid as it possibly can. Now let's look at the second part of this question. Will you keep requiring higher and higher doses of betaine HCl to get the same effect? Again, this is a no, but we do need to keep a few factors in mind. One, every meal is different. So depending on the size of the meal, and then especially the amount of protein in the meal, it can kind of determine how much betaine HCl your body would optimally need if you need to take it at all. Two, and this is probably a bigger one, depends on the amount of liquid consumed in the meal. So the more liquid that you drink during your meal, the more it's going to dilute stomach acid. If you think of, you have maybe a cup of water and then you're putting little drops of food coloring in it. If there's only a tiny bit of water at the bottom, the food coloring is going to be way darker because it's way more concentrated. Whereas if you drop the same amount of food coloring in a large bucket of water, it's not even going to really do anything. You probably won't be able to tell that the color is any different in it. So I always preach in a lot of my videos, take only small sips of water during meals, not large gulps, because it makes it a lot easier for you to have strong stomach acid. And third factor to keep in mind, for people that need acid support, the dose can vary greatly in how much your body needs. The capsules normally come as about 650 milligrams of betaine HCl, and a normal dose is actually between 1 and 8 capsules per meal, and you don't want to exceed this. Always start at only 1 capsule per meal. This is very important, especially if you've never taken it or don't know your dose. If you do take too high of a dose, you can get a heartburn, kind of like chest burning sensation up in here, like around your sternum. That means that you've taken too much. It is, however, the best practice to take the highest tolerable dose. So if you are tapering up and you notice that 2 pills, you feel fine, but then after you increase to 3, you are noticing some of the symptoms, you know to discontinue for a day or 2 and then remain at the 2 capsules per dose. That is just one example. As someone is tapering up to find the best dose for them, it is probably a thought you may have in your brain, like, am I becoming dependent on this? I keep taking more and more and nothing's happening. The answer is no, you just haven't found your perfect amount yet that's just below the threshold of the highest tolerable dose. And then fourth, this doesn't really tie into needing a higher dose or dependency, but I found it to be a very interesting topic. This is a chart from a 2020 study from the Journal of Integrative Medicine.
It shows the effect of stomach acid / pH levels in the stomach based on age. And they looked at groups with an average of 25 years old and then a group with an average of 71 years old. The green group is the 25-year-olds and the blue group is the 71-year-olds. As you can see, the pH of the 71-year-olds is significantly higher than that of the 25-year-old group. This means that they have a lot lower stomach acid, meaning their ability to digest and absorb food and get the nutrients and energy from the food is less. I used betaine HCl with pepsin during and after the time I treated myself for SIBO years ago. I slowly tapered up my dosage until my dose was actually from 6 to 8 capsules per meal, which is on the high end. After several months though, I slowly weaned off until I eventually stopped completely. My story is an example that even if you're taking betaine HCl, even at a very high maximal dose, you will not become dependent on it. And after healing the root cause of my digestive issues, which was the SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, I ended up not needing it anymore, which I still don't today. There's a lot of other topics I could go into regarding betaine HCl with pepsin, but to maintain the scope of this video, I will not do so in this particular one. If you're struggling with digestive issues or think that stomach acid may be affecting you negatively in terms of your digestion, send me a message on my website at drdanielricciardi.com and schedule your free 30 to 45 minute consultation. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you are new to my channel, I post a new weekly video every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week.
What's up and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut. During the week of Thanksgiving, I was hospitalized for 4 days with a staph infection in my leg, which I'm still recovering from somewhat. I'm not 100% sure how I got it, but I suspect it's from some sort of insect bite. There's a lot that happened over the last few weeks when I was in the hospital and when I had the infection. If you haven't seen it yet, you can click this link here to check out the vlog. Being out of the hospital and able to walk again is really cool, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my body's back to full strength in every capacity. The purpose of this video is to show you what I did or what I'm doing now that I'm out of the hospital in order to 1, maintain my gut health, and 2, support my immune system function. I'll share the 7 supplements that I was using or still am using in order to do these things, which seems to be working so far, as I have no digestive issues, haven't gotten sick again, and my leg seems to be continuing to heal. I'm also going to integrate research studies into this video as well to further explain why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And as a quick disclaimer, these are the things that I've found to be helpful, and they may not necessarily be the best option or safe for everybody to do. All right, first up, maintaining gut health. I'm pretty open about the fact that I don't really love antibiotics. I just think they're really overused. It's apparent that antibiotics can have a significant impact on your gut microbiome, which can lead to future complications in some cases. I'm definitely somewhat biased on antibiotics, and when it came to handling the infection that I had in my leg, this definitely impacted my decision making and actually impacted it not in a good way. While I still think it's a good idea to avoid antibiotics unless they're absolutely necessary, seeing my leg worsen day after day should have indicated to me that they definitely were absolutely necessary, and that waiting until I could not even walk or stand up was a very dumb thing to do. In the hospital, I took an IV antibiotic called cefazolin. IV stands for intravenous, which means it's injected into your vein instead of a pill that you're taking orally. There is conflicting research on whether intravenous antibiotics can have a lasting effect on the gut microbiome. While some studies have shown that IV antibiotics do not really have much effect on the gut microbiome, this 2022 study from the Journal of Frontiers in Cellular and Infection Microbiology had different findings when looking at the impact of IV antibiotics on the gut microbiome of elderly cardiac surgery patients. It found that the composition of the gut microbiome had a significant change post-intravenous antibiotics treatment in cardiac surgery patients. Obviously, Obviously, if you're in the hospital, you're not going to have a choice. You're going to want to do what you need to in order to get better, which is the smart thing to do. I'm just pointing this out for your information. And then when I got out of the hospital, I took another 10 days of an oral antibiotic called doxycycline. So combined, this is 14 days of antibiotics to deal with. On the other hand, from IV antibiotics, oral antibiotics have been confirmed that they definitely do have an impact on your gut microbiome. And there's also research to support the fact that they may cause leaky gut as well. This 2023 review by the Journal of Therapeutic Advances in Infectious Disease discusses the impact of oral antibiotics on the microbiome and then mentions some possible ways to prevent this negative impact from happening. It mentions antibiotics can alter the composition and diversity of the gut microbiome in neonates, children, and adults, and may result in antibiotic-associated dysbiosis and intestinal barrier disruptions. Antibiotic-associated dysbiosis means that the gut microbiome, flora, good bacteria kind of get out of whack after taking antibiotics. And then intestinal barrier disruption refers to leaky gut. This study goes on to say probiotic bacteria and dietary supplements are highly promising in preventing or restoring the equilibrium disturbed by antibiotics in the gut microbiome. So it seems like probiotics and some other supplements may be helpful in preventing some of the effects caused by the antibiotics. So to support my gut microbiome, I was taking and I'm still currently taking, and all the supplements I'm going to show you in this video, I am not affiliated with at the time this video was filmed. So first, I'm taking a half capsule of this Wise Human Adult Advanced Care Plus. Half capsule, it's 20 billion units, and this has a variety of different lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, as well as Saccharomyces boulardii, and a little bit of prebiotic, which basically means it's a type of fiber. I'm probably going to take this for one more week or so, assuming I feel good and there's no issues. I'm no longer taking the doxycycline antibiotic, but when I was taking that, I made sure I spaced out the doses of doxycycline, which were morning and night, from the time I took the probiotic. I spaced them apart during meals, so there's about a 4-hour spacing in between antibiotic, probiotic, and then antibiotic. I did this because probiotics are live bacteria and antibiotics get rid of live bacteria. Therefore, if you're going to take them in the same day, timing can really matter. And if you space the probiotics out, you're probably going to get a lot more benefit from the probiotic because it's not in danger of being eliminated by the antibiotic. You understand that the probiotic I mentioned is just the one that I took. There's a wide range of other probiotic studies used with antibiotics, and it seems like there may be a bunch of other species of probiotic that can also be helpful. All right, still on gut health, the second portion I want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, antibiotics may cause leaky gut. So to help with potential leaky gut and gut healing, I'm also taking this L-glutamine supplement. I'm doing 2.5 grams on an empty stomach in the morning in between breakfast and lunch. I've actually been putting it in like my pre-workout little cocktail that I make that has 5 grams of creatine, a little bit of salt, and now this L-glutamine. The one other thing that I have been taking daily for a long time is 2 scoops of multi-collagen peptides, collagen protein. So I take this with breakfast, and this may also help with leaky gut and the mucus lining of the small intestine. All right, switching gears now to the immune system. Being sick or having an infection can put your body under a lot of stress. Maybe not the stress where you think of where you have a work deadline that you have to meet, just from the standpoint that your body's working overtime to try to get back to a healthy state and has to make more white blood cells and other immune cells to help you recover. And when you're in this sympathetic nervous system or fight or flight state, it can be very demanding on your body in terms of the amount of nutrients, vitamins, and energy that your body is burning through. The fact that I was dealing with this infection for a couple weeks, as well as getting what I think was food poisoning again in the middle of October when I was in Colombia, if I had to guess, I would expect that my immune system has been pretty overworked and could probably use a little more support right now. These are the rest of the supplements that I've been using. So we have vitamin A first. These are 10,000 unit capsules or 3,000 micrograms. I've been doing one of these daily. I've been doing zinc gluconate. These are 50 milligram tablets. I've been doing half or 25 milligrams once daily. I've been taking an omega-3 specifically. I've been doing 2 capsules of this one, which is, it's a total of 2 grams of fish oil, which is, for this product, it's 1,000 milligrams of EPA and 250 milligrams of DHA. And then lastly, I've been doing 500 milligrams of vitamin C daily. Why am I doing these specific supplements? This 2020 review by Nutrients Journal looked at the available research to determine the most important nutrients that support the cells of the immune system. It found that literature analysis showed that in vitro and observational studies and clinical trials highlight the important role of vitamins A, C, and D, omega-3 fatty acids, and zinc in modulating the immune response. Supplementations with vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, and zinc appear to be a safe and low-cost way to support optimal function of the immune system with the potential to reduce the risk and consequences of infection. So that's why I'm taking these supplements. I'm not taking vitamin D. I probably could, but I just don't have any right now. As a quick note, this study did come out in 2020 and is looking at viral infections, probably because of COVID, but I feel pretty safe assuming that the nutrients that your body and immune system is going to use to fight a viral infection are probably going to be very close to the ones they're going to use to fight a bacterial, fungal, or other sort of infection. In summary, these are the things after getting out of the hospital for gut health and supporting immune function that I've found to be personally helpful. The supplements I've been taking are 20 billion units of a probiotic that has a combination of lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, Saccharomyces boulardii, and a little bit of prebiotic fiber, 2.5 grams of glutamine powder on an empty stomach in the morning, vitamin A 10,000 units daily, 25 milligrams of zinc gluconate daily, 2 grams of omega-3, and 500 milligrams of vitamin C. As I mentioned, this is just what I've been doing and may not be the best or safest thing for somebody else to do. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. I post a new full-length video every Monday in YouTube Shorts throughout the week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.